So let's look at this really common situation in America's Army Proving Grounds. What we have here is one player defending a corner. So he's sitting here beneath the watchtower on Three Kings, and he wants to keep the enemies from moving up through the south ramp and coming around to flank his team. So what he's chosen to do is hide behind this little wall here and wait for the enemies to come around. So he's just going to scope up and, wait for them to come to him. Over here we've got one of these attacking players. So let's look at how he wants to do this and what ends up happening. So he's trying to be careful, go tactical mode, be all slow and cautious. First of all, his shadow's already given him away right here. But right here is when he can first see, oh, there's an enemy there. This is the earliest you would be able to react. But look what's happening on the defender's screen. He can already see this much of our friendly attacking player. So he can shoot him, and the attacking guy is thinking, man, how is he able to do that already? I can barely see him. That's not fair. But look at how this could have gone differently. If our attack player had come out way out back here. First of all, there's shade here, so your shadow can't give you away, but that's kind of map specific.
Got eyes on enemy.
Right here, you can see the enemy player already, right? And he can't see anything of you. Come out a little bit further, still can't be seen. Come out a little bit further, still can't be seen, right? And right now is when the defender can first see just the smallest sliver of your body. All of that time is the advantage that you have when you take corners wider, when you're further away from that corner. I mean, look at how much of him we can see here.
Enemy spotted.
You can see just about half of his body. So, the rule of thumb is whenever you're trying to take a corner, if you think there's an enemy on the other side, take it from further away. And then you get that advantage in coming around. If you do have to take a corner close up for whatever reason, maybe you just don't have much room behind you to maneuver in, take it quickly. If you crouch and you go slow, you're magnifying the size of that advantage since you're moving more slowly. It's taking you longer to get to a point where you can see them, giving them more time to shoot you first and to react. The other lesson here is if you're trying to defend a corner, you're going to be better off the further away you are. So, going too far back here isn't good on this map because now you're exposed from other ways. But if you were playing back here and watching this, it would be harder for the assault player to be further from this angle than you are, and that works to your advantage. So that's what it ends up looking like in game. But it can be kind of hard to understand why that is, so we're going to hop over into a geometry program real quick just to show you an overhead view of what these points of view look like. So here we've got a same kind of situation. We've got this guy blue here sitting around behind a corner, and he's waiting for the attacker red to come up. And what I've drawn here is what each player can see. So blue's kind of looking out this way, and this is his field of view. Red's got the same 75-degree field of view. Everything's the same about these two guys. The only thing limiting them here is this corner, and whether they can see past it, what they can see. And since you're generally like a little bit wider than your field of view is, right, when it comes out, that's kind of represented here with how cameras work in games in general. So, if red tries to come up here and hug this wall as he comes around this corner, right here is when blue can first start to see him, and red still can't see blue. By the time he's far enough around this corner to actually see the blue player, blue can already see a significant portion of red. So even if you don't worry about the whole reaction time bit of this, just the amount of area, the amount of target you have to hit is bigger here for blue than for red. So this is why if you're coming around to the corner tight, you want to be going fast. You don't want to be using tactical mode or anything like that. You want to minimize how long you're presenting a larger target than they are. The better way to do this is to kind of, I've heard this called slicing the pie. So if you imagine a big circle around here, you're kind of working your way around, right? But generally, the further back you are, the better. And you can see, if we just look at when red can first see blue, how close are they to being able to be seen by blue as well? So if we just slowly move red closer and closer, you can see that this distance here, how far away they are from what blue can see, gets smaller and smaller until you're right about here, when they can both just barely see the other person, and at this point they're both the same distance from this corner. So if you want the advantage, you stay further back. Blue still can't even see you here, and you can just shoot his arm off all day long. So that's a nice little way to get yourself an advantage. What blue could do differently if they want to guard this more effectively is just sit further back from this corner. And now look at how much room you've taken away from red's ability to maneuver safely. So now he's kind of got to stay right up against this wall if he doesn't want to get seen at all. And then he's trapped into revealing himself in a less advantageous position. The other thing some people do is they'll try to hide like right in this corner. And the idea here is you just kind of hope that red gets lazy and doesn't check this corner very well when he goes past and just doesn't see you. That can work sometimes too. But in general, I'd kind of recommend doing something like this more often. If nothing else, people know to expect that a defender is hiding in a corner. If you're in some more random spot, like somewhere along this wall, you're a little bit more unpredictable. And I think that's generally a good thing to be when you're playing a first-person shooter game. So let's show you just a few more things here before we go, relating to where your player's point of view is and bullets coming out of your camera and that kind of thing. Bullets don't actually come out of your gun. So if a player can see you, they can shoot you. So if I'm just looking right down here, and I'm going to use a debug mode command here. So if I were to fly down here, all you can see is that guy's head. You can't see his gun, but he can still shoot you, and that's basically why. The devs basically made it so most of the time your gun is pretty close to being in line with the player camera, so the discrepancy there is pretty tiny. But it's still there. And if I do a slightly different command, you can see here this purple box is basically showing what the player can see. So, if you're interested in getting a little perspective on how the game's put together, how it works, this kind of shows you. So if you see this white line here that actually points towards where the camera is, where the player's point of view is originating, so you can see that you actually see from a point that's right there at the bridge of the player's nose. So that's where bullets come out of. It's not the top of the head, it's not up here, it's not, actually the barrel. It's right around the bridge of the nose. So, just a nice little extra piece of information for you. That's all I've got to show you today. Hopefully I'll get some more content out soon. Enjoy your games. Hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions.